Now, he may have entered the camp late, but Reverend Richard Coles has quickly emerged as a huge fan favourite. Oh, join me now, Richard's friend and podcast partner, Charles Spencer. It's so good to see you.
Thank you, Lorraine.
He's doing well, isn't he?
He is. I'm not surprised, you know. He was really up for it. He's not very good at keeping a secret, so I knew for a while he was on it.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
And I would say, he's made for it, because he loves people. He finds them fascinating. He's my age, and he went in hoping he could help others with a bit of calmness and all of that.
Yes, exactly.
And he's done it, I think. And people love him.
I think he has. He's become this, not unsurprisingly, he's become a sort of father confessor. You know, people are drawn to him and they want to talk to him as well, which is lovely. Well,
he does. He's very engaging. And we have to remember, yes, he is a vicar, but he's been a pop star. That was his song in the background. And he's a great writer, novelist, podcaster, whatever. Whatever he does really well. And when he said he was going to enter this, I said, well, what about the food trials? And he went, well, I love my grub. And he does, and he got those things down. I don't know how he did that. I don't know how he did that. That really is the one thing that I just absolutely could not do in there. Oh, but he did it. But he has been talking, and there was one moment with Oti. In fact, we should have a wee listen, because it was very, it was very profound, very deep.
When my daughter was born, she was premature. And the only thing that we would sing, because the way to connect with premature kids, because they're in an incubator, is you can only touch their hand or your voice, and they find comfort in your voice. And for 2 months, every single day, we would sing church music.
Yeah, you reminded me just that I remember going once to baptise a little boy, a premature boy. He was born very premature. He was only just alive.
Very emotional, and you know, for people to open up like that to him. But as you say, you're not surprised, because that's what he does, you know. Yes.
Do you know, he was a priest near where I live in Northamptonshire, and he had a packed church every Sunday, not because he was a celebrity, but because he really cared.
Yeah.
And I've seen him engage with people. You know, he's got this rich humour and a lot of depth, and I think that's what's coming across in the camp.
Very much. And of course, you know him really well, because you got friendly, and then you do this podcast together, the rabbit hole. You go down a rabbit hole, which is such a great idea. There's the three of you there, and it's just, and again, you get to know somebody really well when you're having those big conversations.
Yeah. So what we do is set each other an impossible subject each week to talk about and be entertaining on, and it's a competition. And I will actually say, Richard's highly competitive.
Yes.
Underneath all of this, he will want to win and be king of the jungle.
He will.
But he's got this incredible mind. So, yes, this rabbit hole detective, he can go down. You can't actually get him on a topic he knows nothing about.
How annoying.
So on the podcast, but whatever, you try and trip him up. No, there's no tripping Richard
There's no. And you brought a book out of this, the Rabbit Hole book,
yes,
which is fantastic, because it says 99 adventures into the history of stuff.
Yes.
And don't we all love going down a rabbit hole? We do it all the time on our phones.
Yeah.
And now here you can do it properly.
Well, that's it. And Richard, we each wrote 33 chapters. Richard did 33, I did 33, and my partner, Kat Jarman, did 33. And Richard's are so interesting. They reveal the real Richard. They're quite naughty for a vicar. You know, he writes about a dog called Bum or something like that. But that's very Richard, because it's not offensive, it's just fun.
But see, that's what makes him so good at, you know, at what he was doing, a bit of being a man of the cloth, because people could relate to him. You didn't feel as if he was way up there and he'd never say a swear word.
No.
You know this, he's an earthy guy.
Well, I love that with Maura going, oh, I'm sorry, Father, to him whenever she swore. Well, I've heard Richard say all sorts of things, because he's a real person.
Well, exactly, and that's what shines across. What do you think was his biggest fear? Did he tell you what he was worried? You know, people say, oh, I'm frightened of spiders, I don't like snakes, I don't want to eat a kangaroo's bum, you know, all that kind of thing.
I know what it was, because I saw him the day after he was voted off Strictly, and he couldn't tell me, but I said, oh, how are things going? And he looked really sad, and he said, let's just say I've got more time on my hands than I wanted. I think Richard's biggest fear, genuinely, would be to be voted off early, because he loves people and he likes people liking him.
Yeah, of course. And
I think he can do the trials. He's up for this. He's told me before, he's not entering it weekly, and he said he'd get everything down in his mouth that he had to. But I think he's a little frightened of heights too.
Right.
But everything else I think he can cope with.
He'll just and you know what? He's got that strength of character.
Yes.
He'll absolutely do. Would you, in a million years, ever go in there?
Well, I wouldn't, because I couldn't eat any of those disgusting things.
Neither could I.
And then I got other weaknesses. I couldn't be in a coffin full of rats or any of the other delights.
I mean, thought of it. The thought of it. I do take my hat off to them because I could never, ever, ever do it.
I really admire them. People are quite sniffy about them, aren't they? But I think it's incredibly brave and you've got to be committed.
So do I. Have you enjoyed watching him suffer, though?
I have enjoyed watching. People said, are you surprised that he lied so well? And I said, well, not really, because he'd be entering that as a game. He wasn't lying nastily.
Not at all.
He was playing a game.
He was. He was just pretending that they had the worst possible time. They're lying in a lovely bed, getting gorgeous food. Yeah, that was very funny and very clever, and he carried it off beautifully. Well, I hope he goes all the way. I really do.
I think he'll make it to the final 3.
I hope so. And the book's great. And thank you
Lorraine.
so much for coming in. The Rabbit Hole book is out right now, Adventures into the History of Stuff. Well, that's a wrap for this video. We hope you enjoyed it. We have all the best moments from the show right here on the channel. And if you like this video, then we think you'll love this one. See you next time.